Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stalin Pena. I'm a VMware senior consultant for the PSO SDDC team. So today we're going to basically talk about a little bit regarding the integration or vRealize automation and NSX in the software-defined data center. So a little bit about who I am. So Stalin Pena, multiple basically VMware certifications. Have been awarded with the vExpert title for 2016 and 2017. This is my personal email address that you can basically get in contact with me for any questions. My Twitter handle and my URL for my blog. As a matter of fact, please excuse me if I feel a little bit nervous. My mentor is over there, so just have to make sure that he's happy about the work that I'm gonna do. So, by the raise of hands, how many people know what the software-defined data center is? I'm sorry?
Does anyone really know something?
No, but I still need to ask. It's like, what is the software-defined data center? So, just basically a quick introduction for those that still don't know what a software-defined data center is. So, in order to expedite the delivery of IT-related services, which businesses are consuming, enterprises are transforming the data centers into a pool of dynamic allocated compute, networking, and storage resources. So, in small words, or simple technical words, we are basically pulling networking, storage, and compute into a pool of resources that we can basically give to the business for them to consume, in order for them to be able to deploy their workloads at their own will. That's basically what is the software-defined data center is. The SDDC brings automation, operation, governance, and business insight to the IT through a cloud management platform, which is, unlike legacy management tools, the cloud management platform purpose-built and deeply integrated into the underlying virtualization layer. So in essence, in a small word, everything in software-defined data center is virtualized. The major pillars of basically a software-defined data center on a VMware model are the virtualization of the compute that is done by vSphere, the virtualization of the storage, which is basically provisioned by vSAN, the virtualization of the networking part, which is basically provided by NSX, and all of this is consumed through the cloud management platform, which is VRA, or vRealize automation. SDDC architecture is geographically agnostic because you can have workloads being deployed everywhere, as long as when you basically add those workloads, or you can basically configure those workloads via VRA, you can add them as endpoints, and you can provision virtual machines located everywhere. So like I said before, in VMware, SDDC model, server virtualization, is basically provided by vSphere. Network virtualization security is provided by NSX. Storage virtualization is provided by vSAN. And provisioning and automation of IT workloads, application IT services, is provided by vRealize automation. So, by the raise of hands, what is NSX? Anyone knows NSX here? Ever, don't raise your hands, please. All right, so it's VMware's flagship network virtualization and security platform. NSX provides the capability to create traditional networks resources such as router, switches, load balancers, and firewalls in software. In much the same way that server virtualization allows operators to programmatically create snapshots, delete, and restore software-based virtual machines, VMs, on demand, NSX enables virtual networks to be created, saved, deleted, and restored on demand without requiring the reconfiguration of the physical network. So, in simple terms, NSX allows us to basically create an overlay in which you can basically create resources that can be consumed by the business without having to ask the network team to create them for you in advance. So let's just an example. In a traditional data center, in order for you to put a business application online, you have to basically contact many teams. In the terms of NSX, in the past, you used to basically contact the network team. Can I get IPs? Can I get VLANs? Can I get basically network segments where these workloads can be deployed? With the use of NSX, this can be basically automated, and at the same time, you don't need the time that it takes for those resources to be provisioned to you. Now, from going from weeks to days, Now you can do it in just minutes to make those available to you. It basically doesn't care about what your physical network is. It runs on top of any type of network as long as you have an ESXi available. ESXi server available. With NSX, virtual network security policies are automatically attached to workloads. So with NSX, what this means is we can basically create these firewall rules that are assigned to basically virtual machines. And anywhere that virtual machine goes, that distributed firewall rule will be basically following the virtual machine. So independent where you migrate that VM, those firewall rules will still be following that VM, and that VM will be protected. Any questions about NSX before I continue? Please don't be shy. I'm sweating here, but I can ask questions. No? Okay, so let's keep going. So what is vRealize automation? vRealize automation is VMware IT automation tool for software-defined data center. So vRealize automation enables IT automation through the creation and management of personal infrastructure, applications, and custom IT services. What does that mean? That's basically a marketing term. vRealize automation basically is basically a tool that you place on top of your vSphere. You connect basically vSphere as an endpoint to this tool, and then you can create multi-tenancies that allows you to have basically a private cloud, a hybrid cloud, or connected to a public cloud. So let's say as an example, you can have vRealize automation connect as an endpoint to your vSphere implementation, and then you can create reservations, and you can create tenants that you can provide access to the different business groups. So what I mean by that is, let's say as an example, marketing, sales, engineering, they can have a different tenant, and they can consume pool of resources out of your data center that are only allowed for them to be used. It facilitates the cloud providers with the multi-tenancy needed to be able to supply the customers with pool of resources, like I said before. You can basically carve out different portions of your data center, not just the data center, but different data centers, and provide those pool of resources to your customers. In this case, your customers could be one tenant or could be many tenants. With vRealize automation, like we can basically connect Amazon clouds, let's say as an example, as an endpoint. You can connect basically private clouds via vSphere, and you can deploy basically workloads anywhere you want, as long as you basically connect them as an endpoint to your infrastructure. Benefits is integrated NSX and vRealize automation. It allows the enterprises to really enable true software-defined data center by automating the provisioning and securing of workloads in minutes instead of days. What I mean by that is, so let's say as an example, like the example that I used before. Before, for the workload to be available to a business unit, they have to basically submit a request in advance for the network group, for the application people, for the virtualization people, for them to be able to provision those workloads, so that way the application can be brought to business. Now, because we have different multi-tenancy, and we can provide the customer access to these portals, we can tell the customer, you have your pool of resources, you can go ahead and just basically deploy your workloads at your own will. That's basically what a true software-defined data center is. Instead of basically you going to IT, you can basically you consume those resources that are available for you in order for you to basically deploy those workloads that you want to deploy going forward. Any questions? Come on, guys, ask questions. That's what I'm here for. So this graph basically explains what is the combination of vRealize NSX, vRealize automation, and on-demand application delivery. So with NSX, we can basically in software create resources like logical switches, logical routers, logical firewalls, and logical load balancers. Via vRealize automation, we can create service catalog. What is a service catalog? A service catalog is basically a container that have items that you can consume on demand. So let's say as an example, you can have a container that have a blueprint that you can consume of a multiple virtual machines. So let's say as an example, you have an application that is composed of an application server, a database server, and also have basically 2 web servers. So you can basically go to your catalog and basically go and deploy those virtual machines that you need at your own will, without basically telling IT to deploy them for you. And because NSX is integrated to vRealize automation, you can secure those workloads and assign basically the networks that those VMs are going to be consuming. And if you want to provide micro-segmentation to those VMs, there will be basically already configured networks that those VMs are going to be basically following. So as an example, when you create a blueprint, or a blueprint in VRA terms is basically a canvas that you basically tell, I want a VM that has to be deployed for a particular template. That template is going to have a network 10.10.10.x, but that VM cannot basically talk to a VM that is located in a 10.10.20 network. You can configure a firewall rule and add that firewall rule to the same VM or same, blueprint that you're trying to deploy. So that's the beauty of basically integrating NSX and vRealize automation at the same time. So now with the public cloud, you can basically have NSX deploy VMs into a public cloud that basically has NSX configuration loaded into it. That's basically what you will see in Amazon Cloud as well. You will be taking advantage of NSX capabilities there. And using the same example that I have regarding applications on demand, you can deploy any application anywhere you have access to, and those applications will be configured the way that you want without you intervening with IT whatsoever. So IT becomes an enabler, not basically a showstopper, when applications have to be basically put on demand. Any questions?
When you create one of those NSX integrations, does it literally, as it runs the blueprint, does it actually fill the rules in NSX? Like, if the new VM is called X, right? Does it mean that the NSX rules get that VM name?
Very good question. So let's say as an example, when you create your blueprint, in your blueprint, you're going to basically tell that blueprint, you have to deploy a VM using this particular template. Then you have to associate a network profile that is part of that of the networks that you have already defined. When you integrate NSX with VRA, you basically make a connection using VRO. And all the networks that are already defined in the NSX overlay will become available to you. And that way you can basically create a network profile that you can associate to the particular template that you want to deploy. That's how it's made.
So instead of like in the physical or connecting this to a port and putting on this particular VLAN and giving it this address,
correct.
You set the policy and everything here and push it down.
That is correct. So you have to define, before you create a template, you have to define those network profiles. Those network profiles are basically being injected by NSX to you. And once you basically create your blueprint, you associate that network profile that you want that particular VM to basically take into consideration. Any other questions? Yes?
What are the blueprints based off? Is that something that can be submitted to change control, or?
Blueprints are basically based on templates. So,
No, come back. I have no
templates, not a problem. That's okay. So let's say as an example, when you connect your vSphere implementation, your vSphere deployment to VRA, you are going to have basically a group of servers, templates, VMs that you are going to like import into VRA. So when you integrate VRA to vSphere, VRA is going to read that endpoint that you configure inside VRA. And you will do like a discovery of those endpoints that you have. And that template is going to be basically be presented. Then when you create a blueprint, you have to basically specify what type of blueprint you want. Because it's a vSphere implementation, you're going to select a vSphere virtual machine. And that's where you select the template that you want to utilize.
And you can present these to end users or administrators as part of a cloud to say, if you want this, pick this particular template.
So let's say as an example, very good question. So what will happen is every user business user, not every user, business user will have basically a portal in which they will log in. Inside that portal, they will have access to what is called service catalogs. Right. So service catalogs are basically a group of items that they have access to. A service catalog can be VMs, can be applications, and can be basically services that they can consume. So to answer your question, yes, when they create or basically request the creation of a virtual machine, they can select the blueprint and the networks that that blueprint can have to utilize. Any other question, please? Okay, so, oh, I'm running out of time. So, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.